The first time I met her was actually on Facebook. I think we were doing that random thing where we friended people that said they were going to Goucher and were maybe in the same dorm as us randomly. And Alex came up, and my first thought was, when I looked at her picture, was I'm going to school with a baby genius. I'm pretty sure I thought she was like 12 or 13 years old because of her profile picture. And then I realized she was holding a card that said 18, and she's actually, in fact, 4 days older than me, and not a baby genius, just a baby face.
Hello, Jonathan Aid. Jonathan Aid. Okay, so I first met Alex when I was 3 years old, 30 years ago. I was just a little kid, and the story that my family likes to tell is that when she was born, people asked me, what did I think of having a new sister? And I said, I do not wish to discuss it. I have no idea where I picked that up. That was the story of when my sister was born, and that's how I first met her. But I soon found out that I could make this little baby laugh, and I was way into the idea of having a sister.
I first met Alex our freshman year of college on like the second day of school, and we were in the same advisory group, and I went up to Alex after and I said, you seem nice, can I have your phone number? And it's been history ever since.
I first met Alex when she got into my car. I wasn't expecting her to be in my car. And so I turned around and said, Chelsea Barroway, who's this? Which is a fair question, given that, again, I didn't expect anybody else to be getting in my car.
It's when Garrity picked her up to take her to College Park and was not given an introduction, and his real response was, who's she? And I think I was also kind of annoyed because I wasn't given a heads up that someone else was coming. She also played a prank on me where she put a condom on my doorknob, and that was greasy and uncomfortable, and it was a weird first impression.
But it's up.
But that's Alex, I guess.
We'd hung out a couple times in mixed groups, still getting to know each other. And when Sam went to South Africa around Valentine's Day, we were like, what are we gonna do? We have no reason to see each other now that our connecting factor is gone. So we went on our first date at the Brewer's Art and hung out one-on-one, and the rest is history. There was crab dip involved too, if memory serves, which is weird because you're allergic to crab, but I think there was crab dip that day. You must have been playing it cool in front of me. I don't know.
I first met Alex at the Calvert house, and I remember because she was Chelsea's friend that was in the hospital, and she came afterwards and I met her there.
But the first time I actually met her face to face that I can remember was hearing a knock on my dorm, Alcock, opening the door and being face to face with a bowl of human hair.
Bowl of hair?
And when I
No, we don't need to say where it came from. There was a bowl of hair, and we went up to Alisa's room, and we put the bowl of hair outside of her door, and we knocked on the door and ran away. And she came out, she looked at it, she thought it was funny and not scary, and decided to join us, and we walked around and hid hair together with people. We've been friends ever since.
I first met Alisa in math class, but I don't remember meeting her, and she claims that she sat behind me the whole semester and that I refused to talk to her. I don't agree that this happened, but she sticks to that story. I have a vivid memory of going to her apartment and bringing my Diary of Pete Doherty's like blood writing book, and she did a dramatic reading for me, and that's when I was like, yeah, this Alisa girl, like I really like her. Except I couldn't pronounce her first name correctly for some reason, and so I just called her Bev, and it stuck, and now she's just Bev.
First time I met Alisa was when I guess she was dating Eli and I'd started dating Danny, and then I started working at the SPCA, that's when the first time I met her, where she was way cooler than Eli. So
I first met Alisa, I think on the first day of school. We have a picture of us sitting together at the freshman wear red parade at Goucher. So really early at Goucher.
I first met Alisa when I started at the SPCA about 3 years ago, almost exactly. I was working in the admissions department, and she would constantly come use my copier. We're very Jim and Pam.
In college, in drama class, with her and Alex Aid.
We were in acting class together, and she was in a Waiting for Godot scene, and so she performed it in front of our class, but her scene partner did not memorize any of his lines, so I had to watch her improvise Waiting for Godot, and it was really beautiful. It was so beautiful.
My favorite Alisa story, it was when we were going to a concert here in DC, and we had been working ourselves up for months, and we were so excited, and we were going to go see Josh Groban. And Alisa was like, I have the tickets, I'm going to meet you next Thursday, it's going to be awesome. And I said, great, here's my $50 to pay for the ticket, blah, blah, blah. So we get to the next Thursday, and she comes all the way down from Baltimore, from Goucher, and meets me at AU, and we go all the way down to Chinatown here in DC, and we get to the Verizon Center, and we look up, and we're like, wow, we're actually here, we're going to see Josh Groban. But why is the building so dark? That's so weird. Did the concert start already? Well, we looked down at our tickets, and we realized that the concert was the day before, and we were working ourselves up for the wrong date. So we brought ourselves to downtown DC to see a concert that already happened. So, yeah.
My favorite Alisa story is probably when we were in riding class together, and our instructor left us in the ring for a while, bareback, and we were like, yeah, sure, we're gonna, canter around and do these jumps bareback, which was a really bad idea, but somehow we were just fine at the end of it.
My favorite Lisa story is the time that she registered me to vote and forced me to go vote.
My favorite Alisa story is how she rolled up to my house with me after I adopted that cat, and she was sitting in my front seat, the cat was, and just like squawking like a seagull the entire time, and it was like the longest 7 minutes of my life. And Alisa came into the house and just like started unpacking like all this stuff and just kind of like baby-proofed the house for me. And then I went away, and Alisa fed my cat. So it was like a worry-free pet experience. So I never had a pet before.
Favorite Alisa story is probably the fact that she was totally cool with me coming to visit for New Year's, and then being like, you know what, I think I'm just gonna stay indefinitely. And I slept on her floor for a couple months until her lease was up. And 6 years later, we are still living together. I actually have my own room now though, and we're pretty much common law. Our families have Thanksgiving together. It's, we have children, hey Nook, hey Ted, hey Uno. We love you. But yeah.
My favorite Alisa story is a toughie. It's probably going to be something really silly, because the only reason I love it is because of Alisa's facial expression. She was up making a copy, up at my copier, and she was telling us how she had broken whatever part of her body playing something or doing something, and she had said how she was almost finished with her finger rest or something, and she had played a hockey game and hurt it again. And as she's saying this, the most annoying person we work with, Melissa, who is just like the policy Nazi, decides to chime in and is like, well, you shouldn't be playing, hockey. That was a work injury, and now you're playing hockey on it. That's against policy. And Alisa just looks at her, and it goes, and then looks at me and goes, and then walks away. And that was it. That's when I knew I loved her. The expression.
I think it was junior year of college. Heath Ledger had died, and it was really upsetting. And so our group of friends decided that we were all going to be Heath Ledger, different characters for Halloween. Of course, one by one, everyone backed out until it was just me and Alisa, and we decided to do Brokeback Mountain. So I was Heath Ledger, she was Jake Gyllenhaal, and we were cowboys for the rest of the night, and we had a photo shoot. We went to the TGI Fridays, or TGI Fridays, right? TGI Fridays, and you know, we were, it was romantic, it was great.
Okay, my favorite Alex story, I tell this to my students all the time. Whenever they had a graphing calculator that didn't work, the batteries were too old and didn't work, their response was to put it back into the calculator caddy. And I would always give them this lesson. I had a roommate once that she would open the refrigerator, she would smell the food, it would smell bad, and she would put it back in the refrigerator, which I always thought was an interesting choice. Because typically you would throw that away. So I think it's a good life lesson for people, especially younger people, to learn that when something's not right, you should probably fix it instead of just leaving it where it is.
My favorite Alex story is probably from when Alex and I went to London together. We were at the Harry Potter studios, and I was really excited to see this really real model of Dobby, and Alex and I took this really excited selfie, and it turned out that it was dead Dobby after he'd been killed on the beach, and Alex and I just burst into laughter, and everyone was staring at us, but we like couldn't stop because it was the funniest thing, and that's still one of my favorite photos of the two of us.
So my favorite Alex story is probably when she was telling me about being at work one day with her coworker, and she felt a bee on her, and her immediate reaction was to grab her coworker and like rub the bee on her, and the coworker was like, "What are you doing, Alex?" And Alex was like, "Oh, I'm really sorry, I forgot that you're not like one of my friends." And then when Alex told me that story, I was like, "What, Alex? Even if it's one of your friends, you don't rub a bee on them."
Is the time Abe spit watermelon all over my face.
So Alex and I would share many car trips together in the back seat, and I would frequently enjoy, you know, messing with her because I'm her brother, and I would frequently get away with it because she would tell our parents in the front seat what was going on, and they wouldn't see anything. They wouldn't see anything that was happening, so I would frequently get away with it, and this aggravated her a great deal. And one time the tables got turned, and she was aggravating me, and I said to our parents, you know, turn around, look what Alex is doing, and she wasn't doing anything. And so the expression that came out of her mouth was, "This is how it feels! This is how it feels!" Which we frequently repeat back to one another to this day.
Favorite Alex story is the time I made you kill the bug for once, but you were too scared to do it, so you looked for tools to help you remove it and get it out of the house, and then when you finally had it on something to carry it out, I pretended to slap that something, like as if the bug would go flying in your face, and you thought I would be so mean as to actually do something like that, and just screamed and dropped it yourself, which was pretty good, because then you had to pick it up again. But conquered the fear, I guess, in some ways, in this critter-filled life that we live.
My favorite Alex story was one day we were visiting Steph in her dorm room at Coucher, and I think she said she had never seen Lord of the Rings, but out of nowhere, Alex and I burst into a full voices, characters and all reenactment of the original Lord of the Rings with no cueing and no actual dialogue between us. We just both intuitively took the roles that we needed to take. It was one of the deepest connections I've ever made with a human in that moment, and very powerful.
My favorite thing to watch with Alisa, we haven't done it that often for reasons you'll understand, but senior year of college during Snowpocalypse, we watched every Lord of the Ring movie back to back, And it was a magical experience because right afterwards, I think Steph Barnes asked us, like, well, show me what the movie was about. And we went into about a 20-minute improvisation of the whole film without talking. We just like switched characters and we knew exactly what we were doing, and it was a beautiful, beautiful moment. So anyway, Lord of the Rings has to win.
Well, obviously. My favorite thing to watch with Alisa is Outlander.
Okay, my favorite thing to watch with Alisa is that show where the girls are sisters, Alex Nears and the other one, and there's the bling ring. It's not called Pretty Little Lies or Big Little Liars or anything like that, but it's called something like that. That show's good, and it only lives on Elisa's phone. That's the only place in the world you can watch it.
My favorite thing to watch with Alisa is definitely anything to do with serial killers. It's a thing that we always sort of like start binge watching, and it makes me a little bit nervous because if anyone could get away with murder, I'm pretty sure that it would be Alisa. And we've discussed this. So if I ever disappear, whoever's watching this, it's Alisa. She done it.
My favorite thing to watch with Alex is, of course, Felicity. It's the most boring show of all time. No one likes it. There's board game scenes that are really boring, and we really bonded watching it. I think it's really important. Grunberg is the real takeaway from that one, I guess.
My favorite show to watch with Alex is probably Secret Princes, if anybody has ever seen that show.
The best movie to watch with Alex, maybe the only movie everybody should watch with Alex, is Prince of Egypt. Yeah, that's why I like it so much. It's when I have revelations.
My favorite thing to watch, well, it's many things, but they all have one common denominator, and that's a tall, beautiful black man with glasses and sometimes a beard. So that would be the OJ TV series with, I don't know any actors' names, but not the documentary, with Cuba Gooding Jr. and all those people. We love that boo in there. And then when that same boo ended up being in This Is Us, we debated about whether it was the same boo or not, but the sentiment was there, so we had a feeling that it was the same boo, and turns out it was. So that's been our little niche lately, and things are getting hot over here, but we've been enjoying it.
My favorite thing to watch with Alex is the bling ring.
My favorite thing to watch with Alex is definitely Pride and Prejudice, the BBC version, obviously.
My favorite thing to watch with Alex is That Thing You Do, which I'm pretty sure we've only watched once, but she claims that's how she knew that she liked me.
Favorite thing to watch with Alex, because she's such a film buff, is Minions.
The best show, the current show that Alex and I like to watch very religiously is Game of Thrones. But before that, before Game of Thrones was a thing, we used to watch Lost. We used to watch The Office pretty regularly. Arrested Development became a big thing. We share a lot of television memories.
Alex. So my favorite thing to watch with Alex would also be Lord of the Rings. There's just a connection there that we both share that's really powerful. And Orly bloomed me when I was younger, and I think it did the same for her, and that's just a really powerful thing to experience.
What stands out about Alisa, other than her prominent eyebrows, would be her sense of humor, her weird, wry sense of humor that, we joke about how Alisa likes you if she insults you. And sometimes it cuts a little deep, but it's pretty funny, and I like that. I appreciate that.
What stands out most is that Alisa is she's such a loyal friend, and she remembers everything that you tell her, and she is just someone that's so supportive and there for you, and it doesn't matter how many years you haven't spoken, or months or days or whichever, but you can just pick right back up, and Alisa is exactly who she is when she met you, and it's great, and I really appreciate that, especially having somebody who I've known now for like over 10 years, like 15 years maybe, which is so weird, like since 6th grade. So as a friend, Alisa is one of the best, and she can't be replaced. She's one of a kind.
What stands out to me about Alisa is Nook, obviously. and her extensive knowledge of musical theater, including in her DVD collection. Alisa has a lot of power because I actually like her dog, and I don't like any other dogs.
My advice to Alisa: keep rescuing random dogs and cats, and it works out really well. Little Brooke is an example of that. Little Scout is another example of that from me.
My advice for Alisa turning 30 would be to go see a Dolly Parton concert and take your roommate with you.
I don't really have any advice for Alisa because I have a little bit to go before I'm 30, so I can't help you out on that one.
They don't change, you just keep being you.
My advice for Alisa turning 30 is relax. It's gonna be okay.
Stop playing things, you dumb idiot. You break everything. You break your fingers, you break your hips, you break your legs. Stop the horseback riding, stop the hockey, take to Downton Abbey on the couch with wine. Great advice.
Do I have any advice for Alex? Be your biggest advocate, and I think you need to stand up for yourself and speak your mind because you're an amazing person and you deserve the best.
My advice for Alex turning 30 is to just follow your gut and to go for what you want, because you're a really smart, talented person and you should have the whole world.
Chill the fuck out. You're doing 10 out of 10 at life.
I think Alex should embrace herself and continue being her, because I like her the way she is, and there's nothing she could do to make herself better.
My advice for Alex would be to marry rich. Something like a kind of Anna Nicole Smith type thing. Let him die off and then use all that millions that you inherit to just buy like a cat farm.
My advice would be for Alex turning 30, you know, stay 30, flirty, and Abraham Lincoln.
Follow your own spirit. Follow your heart. Be kind. Be wise.
Don't come to me for advice. I'm a lawyer, but that's all I'm qualified to do, and you don't get in any sort of trouble, so you're fine. Don't come to me for any other kind of advice. It's bad. It'd be bad advice.
There's something that comes to mind. Once you realize you don't need a special occasion to buy a cake, the second half of your life begins.
I realized that Alisa was smarter than me pretty much every time I said that I was gonna Google something, and then as soon as I was about to Google it, she was like, oh no, I could just tell you. And in the beginning, I would like look it up just to make sure, but she was always right. So now instead of Googling things, a lot of the time when I'm with people, I'll be like, well, I'll just text Bev, and she usually knows the answer. Alex hates it.
I realized Alisa was smarter than me when, I don't know, she just knows the answer to everything. Just always, no matter what it is, she has something to say, which makes her the smartest person. She says I give her the best advice, so I don't know. It might be more that I would die without her, so I just assume it's the same thing.
On our morning drives to school, and she would educate me on politics and psychology.
Probably the first week I met her in anatomy.
I mean, pretty much whenever she opens her mouth, she's very articulate. She has good lexicon and uses big words and makes me go all the time, so pretty much always.
Okay, that one time that she called me a dipshit, and I was like really affected, and Alex was like, don't worry, that's how Alisa tells people that she loves them.
Joke about how you know Alisa likes you if she insults you.
But I did deserve the dipshit. It was at the Vatican. I don't remember what I did, but it was probably something stupid.
I realized that I was smarter than Alex when we were sitting in our religion final. It was our senior year, so you know, we were kind of a little loose anyways. But we were all waiting for it to start because Alex was literally the last person to show up. And then when she did show up, eating something out of a Pearl Stone to-go box, her fly was also down, which is just kind of like the trifecta of embarrassing. When she sat down next to me, I told her, your fly is down, you dipshit.
When did I learn that Alisa was smarter than me? I don't think that I will ever admit it. ever. The jury's still out on that, I think, Alisa. And honestly, like, I went to college, I was 12 years old, that's what you thought, so I'm a baby genius, and, you know, we'll see. So I wasn't here for this story, so I don't know if it counts, but one time Alisa told me that I think it was a family friend, had a toddler who didn't really speak, but he was like a baby genius, so he learned sign language. And so, you know, whenever Alisa was around, he would go. And Alisa was like, what, you know, asked his parents, like, what is he trying to say to me? Like, what does it mean? And then the parents said that it meant big, big bear. And that was Alisa, our big bear.
Happy birthday, Bevy. Wait. What's the thing? What is it? It's this?
Yeah.
Okay, sure. Okay.
Alex acts really embarrassed every time she sees me. Like somehow her being in the same space as me is embarrassing to her.
Wow.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't appreciate that look.
Woo! She's so weird. Like everything. I don't know.
And so it is.